it seems like Battlefield is actually back for once. After the release of Battlefield 5 and the constant amount of ridicule that the developers got for basically not going down the realism route when it came to Battlefield, and the fact that Fire something, I can't remember what it's called, the Battle Royale mode for Battlefield 5 didn't go over particularly well. And then with the release of 2048 being a buggy and broken mess, it's great to see that the Battlefield 6 beta has actually been doing incredibly well. So let's look at numbers. And while these numbers are not representative of the full story, it's still just impressive to see that with a franchise that hasn't had a good game since Battlefield 1, some might say, that was back in 2016? So basically almost a decade of not getting a new game in the franchise that was at least be considered decent, or if not good. It's good to see that people actually have an interest, but we're talking about a beta that is freely available for everyone to join and may not necessarily be representative of numbers that may or may not translate to sales later on down the line. So let's, as I mentioned earlier, let's talk numbers. So first spotted by Battlefield Bulletin on Twitter, Battlefield 6's open beta is doing spectacularly well, around 500,000 concurrent players at the time of riding down a peak of 521,079 according to SteamDB. That puts Battlefield 6 beta at 18th. 18th? Hold on, wait. Yeah, Steam concurrent. Okay, well, I mean, that's still huge, even if it is the 18th. 2 spots ahead of the unified Call of Duty app's peak, and the unified Call of Duty app is referring to Call of Duty HQ, which has all the players of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the new one, Modern Warfare 3, the new one, as well as Black Ops 6, if I remember right. They're all under Call of Duty HQ. So that's basically putting all Call of Duty's players together, and we're looking at a single Battlefield title here. That being said, again, it is the beta. It is freely available to everyone as an open beta, so this might not necessarily be anything to write home about. Yeah, and of course Call of Duty numbers being complicated by Battle.net as well. But the thing is that, so PC Game Pass is also another thing altogether as well. So I guess it's kind of interesting to see that there are layers to the numbers here that PC Gamer here actually talks about that I didn't really consider. But personally, I have actually played the Battlefield 6 beta, and I had an incredible time. I really, really do miss Battlefield because Call of Duty is just running around and getting shot and killed really quickly. Battlefield, you have so many more people. You have so many more chances to do better than even the worst the worst Call of Duty player is not the worst Battlefield player. Let's put it that way. As long as you're fairly okay with a shooter on a single-player campaign and you're able to play through the game on normal, you'll do just fine. And in fact, hell, even get like significantly better when you play, games like Battlefield in multiplayer, basically. And the whole 64v64 maps, like, it's absolutely gorgeous. It is beautiful to see these sorts of games being played out, and it's honestly a genuinely fun time. Battlefield 6 really does feel like a return to form, especially since Battlefield 1 was, at least in my opinion, the last good Battlefield game, and the one before that people would say is Battlefield 4. That being said, people generally are split, at least the Battlefield audience, as to whether or not Battlefield 3 or Battlefield 4 is the best. But at the end of the day, these two games are back to back. Keeping in mind that Battlefield 4 did in fact release in a completely buggy and broken mess, especially with its destructive physics back in 2013. So honestly, all things considered, that's still pretty damn good. So with that being said, is it possible that Battlefield is back? We won't know until the game releases, because keeping in mind that there is a single player campaign and there's probably going to be more maps. That being said, hopefully there are some slightly bigger maps, because we know what it's like when maps get too big. We get problems like with 2048, where the maps were so big that you could barely get anywhere with the objectives. The fact that maps just felt like there was random objects littered all over the place, like storage containers and stuff like that. Honestly, sometimes keeping it a tad bit tighter really does benefit a lot of people. And 64v64 is just enough. Like, that is enough. 128 to 128, 128 v 128 is just too much. You're asking for too much chaos, too much madness, and honestly, it's probably better to leave that to other games, like PlanetSide 2, for example. But yeah, take that for what it's worth. I really do think that Battlefield 6 is going to make a splash. How big of a splash and how impactful, that is yet to be seen. But I am actually genuinely hopeful. I do want there to be a little bit more competition in the shooter space that isn't just Call of Duty. And when I say shooter space, I'm talking about the paid shooter space experience. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of free-to-play shooters. And to be completely honest, Fortnite is basically like, you know, the king of the ring as far as that's concerned. Hopefully, Battlefield will be able to make enough of an impact to be able to last until its next game. But with all of that being said though, let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments below. I'm actually interested, especially if you've played the beta. What did you think of it? How did you feel about it? And especially if you're a Battlefield fan, do you feel like Battlefield is truly back? Because I feel like there's a lot of issues that we can still talk about. Whether it be the fact that sometimes games, do free, like the game does freeze sometimes. The beta did, at least for me, at least once it did freeze. And I'm sure there are some technical bits and pieces here and there. But at the end of the day, it's still a good time all in all. And I really do feel like we're getting more of what we want. And let's not forget about Portal. If Battlefield Portals comes back, then my god, like Battlefield's version of Forge mode will be absolutely insane, especially with Battlefield 6. So we're getting a really good game with a really good mode that's being just paired together to make an exceptional experience that potentially may rival, if not be better than, Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. But we won't know until the time comes. But with all that being said though, let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel. I'm aiming for 500 subs by the end of the year. And with all that being said, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.